Brady, touchdown.
It is intercepted by Ty Law. Field goal. And the Patriots are heading back to the Super Bowl.
We have just witnessed the largest comeback ever.
Colts in the Super Bowl. Do you believe it?
These franchises, no strangers to one another in their history, with so much at stake. And here we go. Colts, Patriots for the right to advance to Super Bowl 49. This game being broadcast in Spanish where available using the SAP button on your television. And again, it's warm for this time of year, 51 and raining. And it could even be heavier than this, they tell us. And already Gostowski has to go back and re-tee as we're expecting the gusts to even pick up during the course of this game, Phil.
Well, right now it's just rain, Jim, and I think the quarterbacks and the players can handle the rain, but you get rain and wind mixed, that's going to be a problem.
Josh Cribbs is standing at the back of the end zone for the Colts as Gostowski now boots it, and the AFC title game is underway with a run back from 8 deep by Cribbs. Up the middle he goes, and it gets just across the 20. Tackled down by Matthew Slater, the Pro Bowl special teamer. And look at this offensive line huddling, and that's been a big difference maker for them here the last couple of weeks. They've really gelled after so many different combinations during the course of the season. Luck, of course, led the league in touchdown passes during the year with 40. Year number 3 for the 25-year-old wonder kid. Holmes, his center, who did not get his first NFL start until week 16 down at Dallas, and Herron, who never even had a carry against the Patriots back in November. He has emerged, and he has played well in the postseason. And they're going to go to Herron to open the game, and boom, Herron is held to 1. Silver Salinga makes the tackle for Matt Patricia's defense. This defense had actually held the Colts to just 19 yards rushing in their matchup in the regular season. Collins in on so many plays. And Devin McCourty in an AFC championship game for the 4th time in his 5th season. Second and 9, coming after Luck. And they go across the field, incomplete, thrown in the area of Dwayne Allen, who was covered by Hightower.
Well, we saw right away New England's going to try to pressure Andrew Luck. That was 2 linebackers blitzing right up the middle. This is a different offensive line. That's a big key for the Colts. The right side, they've done a much better job protecting Andrew Luck. They didn't have this line intact the first time they played, and it was a big problem for Indianapolis. The other side, the matchups. Brandon Browner on Kobe Fleener, and Darrelle Revis was on Reggie Wayne those first couple plays.
And again, down at the bottom, you see Arrington on Hilton. And a 3rd and 9 for the Colts. And the pass over the head of Reggie Wayne. And a 3 and out for Luck in Indianapolis.
Patriots, what they did, they pressured the quarterback there a little that time, even though Andrew Luck didn't have anybody hitting, but watch how tight the pocket gets. They push it back, and when you get guys around you like that, you can't throw the football exactly the way you want, and that's why the throw was high.
You saw Ninkovich run right around right. Watch out for Ninkovich in this game. McAfee now, angled, waiting for the snap back from Overton. McAfee, the all-pro punter. It's Edelman off one hop. Gets past the first wave, and Edelman gets airborne before finally falling at the 44, a 21-yard run back by Edelman, who does so many things for this team. Tom Brady last week led this Patriot team from behind on 2 occasions, down 14 against the Ravens, coming back to win it in a thriller. Ryan Wendell is the starting center because Stork is out off a knee injury suffered last week, and Edelman, of course, threw that touchdown pass to boot last week. The longest postseason touchdown pass in NFL history by a non-quarterback. And if you're wondering, the starting running back, would it be Gray or Blunt? It's Shane Vereen. And from the gun, he's going to Vereen. Underneath, for about 5. Greg Minuski's defense gave up 501 yards to New England back November the 16th. But Arthur Jones was not available that game. He was out with an ankle. Freeman, again, a big stopper for them, and Vontae Davis, their Pro Bowl corner, and it's a good secondary. Blunt now in the game on a 2nd and 4, and it's Blunt getting the carry. And again, he had 166 on the ground in the divisional round 53 weeks ago against the Colts, plus 4 touchdowns.
Well, that formation that last time, they brought in an extra lineman in Cameron Fleming, and that's what really beat this Colts defense the first time. Here's 71. He's an eligible receiver, and they just did a tremendous job of just pushing the Colts defensive line back. The linebackers were not able to make tackles, and that's why they had great success in that first game in Week 11.
3rd and 3. Gronk is at the top with Vontae Davis on him. Gronkowski had a touchdown against the Colts in the regular season, and he was out of action the last 2 years in the AFC Championship game with injuries. Let's see if the Patriots can pick up a first. Across the middle, and it's too high for Edelman. Just like the Colts, the Patriots, 3 plays and out.
Good job that time. Down the field, Edelman in the slot is going to come across, and he has him. Tom Brady a little careful with that first throw. It's a zone defense. He knew that right away by the alignment of the Colts players, just not able to put the throw on the money.
Ryan Allen had 5 punts last week against the Ravens, averaged only 37 yards a punt. Low snap. Cribbs comes up with a fair catch, and he has to run right off his chest, and the ball's on the ground, and it's recovered by New England. Darius Fleming has the recovery as Cribbs just couldn't judge it, and he had to run up at the last minute almost in a panic, and it bounced right off his chest.
Well, did the wind affect the punt? Did the rain hit his eyes as he was coming forward? You would think something did, because it was not even close. It hit his face mask is what it looked like from here.
Yeah, it was right off the face guard.
Right off the face guard. And it wasn't a perfect punt. It was a punt that looked like it would be tailing away from him.
Remember Cribbs last week fumbled, and then later it was overturned and ruled that he was down. Could have been a big changing point in that game against Denver. From the 26, Brady's pass, low but caught. Edelman able to scoop it up for 5.
Well, it's interesting. A couple things on that first drive. Vontae Davis stayed outside and covered Rob Gronkowski on one play, and the other was the run defense. Patriots only ran the football 1 time, but that defense and defensive line looked like they were ready for it.
They bring in again Cameron Fleming as an eligible receiver, lined up on the left side. A 2nd and 5 for New England. One. Got the first down to the 12. Tom Brady, all-time ranks in the postseason. Wins, completions, yards. He just at the start of this game moved past Peyton. And touchdowns, now first all-time in playoff action. Blunt goes low and ducks under to about the 11 for 2.
Well, that was a hurry-up play, of course, by the Patriots, and that should have been a penalty. They were not even close to being set for that 1 second. As you watch it live, they're getting down on the left side. They're just, the offense was not ready. Flag should have been thrown.
2nd and 8. He'll snap it from the 11, trying to cash in off the Cribbs fumble. Ho'o Manawanui in the game. To the right, Gronkowski to the left. Brady to Edelman. And they give him the spot within about a foot of the first down.
You know what they do? They put Gronkowski in motion, so this gives Edelman a wide receiver, really one-on-one with a linebacker, Freeman. So that's what the Patriots do. The key to their offense is all the movement, all the little things they do to get the defense to back off and get them matchups that they like.
They're going to have a measurement. It looked like a pretty generous spot, although Edelman did have the ball out in front. Watch where he goes out of bounds here and watch the position of the football as Freeman pushes him out.
Oh, yeah, he's definitely.
I mean, they've got it about a foot away. It looks like it's 2 yards out.
That's a good little shot right there, though, Jim. Rob Gronkowski, everybody says, oh, you got to be physical with him, beat him up at the line of scrimmage. Yeah, you're right. It's a terrible. It should be at least 1 yard to go.
Well, you could challenge it here, and if you won the challenge, you'd set him up as a 3rd and 2 instead of 3rd and a foot.
You could win the challenge, but you'll lose. You'll lose it because it has to be a first down that you're going for. So they could challenge to get a different spot, Jim, but they still would lose a timeout and a challenge. So if they challenge it, so they can't even move it. They wouldn't even be able to move it backwards. So it's a good thing for Chuck Pagano not to throw that flag out there.
A good 1.5 yards difference, it appears. But 3rd and a foot, and Blunt behind Devlin.
6:35.
Gronkowski tight on the right. Blunt goes down. Powers ahead. I think a knee was down. Got a touchdown signal here, but they're going to, of course, have to wait to confirm it. He may have had a knee down first before the ball crossed the plane. Ruled a touchdown on the field. It's going to be short.
Yep, good eye. It definitely is short.
Remember, that was on 3rd and inches.
The ruling on the field of a touchdown is under further review.
If they overturn the call on the field, it'll be 1st and goal, inches away. Walt Anderson, the referee now. Was it a touchdown? Let's hear.
After reviewing the play, the runner's knee was down and the ball was short of the goal line. It'll be 1st and goal at the 1 foot line, New England.
A foot away, 1st and goal.
Pretty evident. Knee down, short of the goal line. You got to look at Indianapolis. What a good job by them stopping the Patriots on an opening drive where they had great field position. Then that fumble or turnover on the punt.
Brady hands it to Blunt. And he's got the touchdown. Touchdown, New England. The same player who scored 4 against them last year in the playoffs.
Good penetration by the Colts. But when you're talking about a couple inches against a good, talented offensive line and a big running back, hard to stop.
Looked like Jean-Francois and DeQuell Jackson might have a play on plugging the hole, but that power that Blunt brings carried it out to the end zone. And it's 7-0 New England, not even 5 minutes into the game, all set up by this. Josh Cribbs mishandling the punt. Blunt to the end zone.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. USAA, proudly serving the financial needs of current and former military members and their families. And by Bud Light, who reminds fans to stay in the game and drink responsibly.
The Kraft family opened the Hall of Fame at Patriot Place back in September of 2008. You know, last week the Patriots rushed for a total of 14 yards for the game on 13 carries. They already have 15 in the first quarter here, all behind Blunt, who also finished off the drive. Let's see how Cribbs can handle it this time. Well, he's not going to get a chance as it bounces through the end zone. Let's go down to Tracy Wolfson.
Well, thanks, Jim. You talked about New England's ability to run the ball. Well, for weeks, Chuck Pagano has been telling us that they need to establish the run, knowing that they are going on the road in the playoffs in inclement weather like this. And who has stepped up? A Daniel Boom-Herron, 231 yards, 2 touchdowns in the last 2 playoff games, but 2 fumbles as well. And he knows ball security will be key, especially in wet weather like tonight. Jim?
Thank you. There he is, 36. He's a downhill runner with a wiggle. That's how he described himself. And he gets the pitch here. Herron with blockers in front. And he's got a first down. Up to the 32. Gain of 12.
Jim, this has been one of their good running plays so far in the playoffs. Watch the center. Holmes gets out front, and then Anthony Costanzo, number 74, the left tackle, can block your best pass rusher one-on-one, and also very athletic. You saw it there on the play. They need to run the football to make this New England defense not get up and blitz and pressure these wide receivers all day.
An audible and a reset here by Luck. Still got 5 on the play clock. And he checks out of it to a running play with Herron. Collins has him. And then the final tackles made by Rivas. View real-time reactions and analysis live during tonight's game with the CBS Sports app. Download the CBS Sports app now to go inside the action.
If you're going to put Brandon Browner in there and he's going to be playing like a linebacker against Kobe Fleener, you would think they'd like to run at him. That's one less linebacker and a defensive back trying to stop the run.
2nd and 9 and Luck from the gun. Well protected for a while, steps up. Now tucks it under, takes off, gets out to about the 39. It will set up a 3rd and 3, a 6-yard scramble by Luck.
Yeah, really good. Andrew Luck has been so good in the playoffs, taking 1-2 looks and then running with the football or throwing it away. New England, good job. Everybody looking in the backfield to make sure that he doesn't get out in that open field and get big yardage.
Rivas has 4 members of the medical crew around him.
Yeah, that's a sight that Bill Belichick's going, you know, we hope he's okay, because their defense so much is predicated on the fact that he can take one of your receivers, cover him, and take him out of the game.
Malcolm Butler comes in for Rivas. And at the end of the play,
there he is, right
there he is.
The screen. Oh, yeah, he planted. It looked like maybe, just guess, it looked like his right knee buckled just a little bit.
Butler is on Hakeem Nicks at the bottom, 3rd and 3. Empty out the backfield. Luck looking for his first completion. And Herron has it, but he is going to be marked really close to the first. There is a flag down.
That was a 2-man rush that time by New England.
Holding, number 39, defense. It's 5-yard penalty, first down.
So
Brandon Browner flagged for that.
Yeah, Jim, so the concept was pretty good. You know, usually 2-man and 3-man rushes against really good quarterbacks don't work because they see it, they know to take more time, and somewhere that defense is going to kind of crumble and open up a throwing lane. But New England, they did it to stop the passes, of course, but also to get an extra guy looking at Andrew Luck in case he wanted to run with the football.
So they take the penalty and the first down at the 44. Browner, the former Seahawk, who gets penalized a lot but has made a difference in this secondary for New England on the year. Luck goes underneath, and he's got Allen out of bounds near the 50. When you talk about Luck against New England, this is his 4th time. We were here for the first one his rookie year. He threw a couple of pick sixes in that game. But he's had 4 giveaways in each of the games played at Gillette Stadium.
Well, he was younger and a different quarterback. He's a better quarterback, there's no question now, than he was in those other games. And this is a better football team and a better offensive line than he saw or had in the other games.
2nd and 4. It's Herron. Nice jump cut near the first.
So, you know, you want to, not that the Colts are coming in here today, Jim, and think that they're going to run for 200 yards. Nothing like that. but it's about doing enough to keep the situations good, because I think one thing the Colts have to be concerned about is their running backs, no matter who it is. If it's Boom Herron or Zerlon Tipton, they're in that backfield. The blitzing linebackers for the Patriots are big, and they can overpower these running backs, take them out of the passing game, and maybe get to Andrew Luck.
First time across midfield. Herron picked up that first down with a 4-yard run. And they're working it up the middle. And another 5. Tonight after the game is the perfect time to catch a new episode of Scorpion. See what viewers and critics are talking about. Scorpion tonight after the game on America's #1 network. Revis continues to get a lot of attention.
Well, looks like they're grabbing his shoulder. So, in fact, I thought, just guessing when I saw the replay, but Darrelle Revis not in there will back this defense up and let them play more zone.
2nd and 5. You saw a glimpse of Butler, who's replacing ball. Tipped and incomplete. It was tipped by Ninkovich, who just has a knack for being around a football.
He sure does, and he's so technique sound. Look at him. He doesn't chase the car. He knows the play could come back to him. His job is to contain the left side of the defense, and he does it well. It almost causes that turnover. You said it right, but very well done by not going down the line of scrimmage with the play fake.
Revis is back on the field for this 3rd and 5.
He's against Dante Moncrief, big and fast, top of the screen.
Here comes Ninkovich. Luck steps up, and he finds Fleener for the first down. Fleener, who had a monster game against New England back in November with 7 catches and 144 yards.
Well, it's a really good job, Andrew Luck. How about the protection and how about the movement in the pocket? He steps up, protects the football, and Colby Fleener, listen, this is the wild card. He has to play well to give this Colts team a good chance to win. You said it, he's come on of late. He's fast. He had good success against this defense the first time.
He's got Browner on him. And again, Revis stays with Moncrief. First down, Luck again stepping up, and Herron unable to hold on to it. Don't think it was expecting. I think he thought Luck was going to go down the field. Let's go back down to Tracy.
Well, thanks, Jim. You saw Darrelle Revis back in there. As many as 6 of New England's training staff checking him out. They were doing tests related to a head injury. He was also checked around the neck area, but cleared to go back in.
Into the play that hit in the head a little bit, but he's been cleared, and this is the 10th play of this drive for Indianapolis. 2nd and 10. And down the field they go, and should have been caught. It was Herron with Collins, the linebacker, on him.
Something the New England loves to do is put their running backs on linebackers outside. We saw it last week. Boom Herron is a good receiver. Ran around a route against Denver, made the catch, and that throw was perfect by Andrew Luck. They put all the receivers to one side, and Herron singled up to the right. They got what they wanted, but he dropped the big pass.
Well, he's had 18 catches the last 2 weeks, but he's dropped the last 2. And that one would have set him up inside the 10. Tipton comes in for him on 3rd and 10. Incomplete, thrown at the feet of Reggie Wayne. And they're going to bring out the field goal unit.
Top of the screen is where Andrew Luck's trying to throw a back shoulder throw, but nobody's open quickly. I know what he was looking for. Reggie Wayne was not thinking the same thing.
And back at New England, the former Patriot Adam Vinatieri, who his longest kick ever at Gillette as a Patriot, 49 yards. This is 51. Vinatieri, this kick, never a chance. He's a legend around here because he won a couple of Super Bowls in the clutch, but wide from 51. Chuck Pagano's decision to try the 51-yarder, the miss, sets up New England at the 41.
Yeah, listen, it's not second guessing. This is what I thought, just couldn't get it in before the kick. The wind, the Patriots offense, you're kicking into the wind over 50 yards. I definitely would have punted the football in that situation.
Vereen is the back. And the give is to Edelman. Ball pops out, but he's got the first down, and he's into Indianapolis territory.
Well, they like this play, and it happened so fast. Watch him come across. And the connection between Tom Brady and Julian Edelman, it's perfect. It fooled the defense, and you always have to be alert. Anytime Edelman goes across the formation, it could be a reverse because he is the guy that's going to run it.
Here's your trick formation right here, Phil. The one they used against the Ravens last week.
All right, 7 guys got to get on the line of scrimmage. 47, the tight end, Hoho Manamanui, is ineligible.
LaFell drops it.
I figured they would try something like this week just to see if the Colts were ready for it.
There was a lot of talk about what happened last week in the game against the Ravens. This was Vereen checking and saying, I'm going to be an ineligible receiver.
Right.
There he is in the slot.
There's the 5 eligible guys going down the field. They don't cover the tight end. They ran it 3 times, and all 3 plays worked.
And they're back to normal here, if you will, on 2nd down and 10.
And the coach showed them they were ready for that formation.
Brady launches it, and what a catch! Shane Vereen never lost track of it, waited for it, caught it in front of Freeman for 30.
Well, Freeman makes a little step. He hesitates, and that makes him late. Puts his arm up there. Probably could have been pass interference, but what a difference. Shane Vereen, an excellent receiver of the football, can make the adjustment. And you think about the Colts, their long throw down the field, Heron could not.
Yeah, one running back drops it. Another one makes the catch and sets up New England in the red zone. Blunt with a couple of Colts on him after 1. Well, there's no football tomorrow night, so great time to watch NCIS Los Angeles. LL Cool J and Chris O'Donnell start in a new episode tomorrow at 10/9 Central, only CBS. Again, last week, the 14 yards rushing was the fewest yards rushing in the history of the NFL in a postseason game by a team that won the game. And they've already exceeded that. The 27 here in the first quarter. Whistles before the 2nd and 9 play. Timeout called by Indianapolis.
This is the first George timeout, Indianapolis.
7-0 New England, and the Patriots are driving. And you see Jonas Gray, who had the 201-yard performance. He stays on the sideline. Has been off and on rain here at the start of this game. And we've seen a lot of miscues at the beginning for the Colts. A couple of drop passes, of course, the Cribbs fumble, the missed field goal. Red zone defense on the season. There are the numbers, but I will say the Colts on the road are the worst red zone defense when it comes to touchdown percentage allowed. Last in the league, giving up 80% touchdowns in the red zone on the road. 2nd and 9. Great pass off the hands of Edelman. He got a little extra shot by Mike Adams.
Well, when you see him come in motion like that, look what it does, though. It's so hard to stay very tight to the receiver because he's coming across the formation. You don't want to get picked by your own players or their receivers. And then when he comes back out, you have to back up to give him a little room, and that's all Edelman needs. And they constantly do this. See, one receiver gets behind another, so it makes the defense back up. Tom Brady only needs a little window to make those completions.
3rd and 9. Need to get to the 7th. And Edelman gets there plus a couple extra. 1st and goal to go from the 5.
Well, you got to play the situation, and they don't. Look at the linebackers. They drop so deep that there's nobody in the middle to come up and make the tackle.
Speaking of linebackers, Indianapolis sitting down Bjorn Werner in this game, a season-long starter, a healthy scratch for this game.
Yeah, a little bit of surprise. Jonathan Newsom, the other outside linebacker, number 91, has been playing very well.
First and goal, and blocked. Got room, and he's near the 1.
Brian Stork, the starting center, hurt last week and out. Ryan Wendell now in there. Dan Connolly. You look at these guys. You got Josh Klein, a young guy playing right guard, but they're all tough, all good run blockers. Watch them up front. They double team the inside guy. Klein comes around, gets a block, leads it in there for a good game.
Watch out for 81 for the Patriots, just checking in. He caught a touchdown from a yard out against the Colts in November. They like him down deep. And that's right, backing off the line of scrimmage and heading to the left side on second and goal. And they're going to go to Devlin, who is able to bounce off the hit. Touchdown, New England.
Well, that play said it all. That's what they do. Send the guy in motion. Ship the tight end back. He goes in motion. They get you thinking everywhere. Everybody's moving, trying to cover somebody. And he ends up throwing a little short pass to Devlin. There's a lot of deception on this New England offense.
First career touchdown reception for James Devlin. Second year in the league out of Brown. And it's 14-0 here in the first quarter. Boy, DeQuell Jackson had him, but Devlin bulldozed his way home for the touchdown.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by TD Ameritrade. And by Universal Pictures' Seventh Son. In theaters February 6th.
That's the Kennedy Plaza skating rink in downtown Providence. And Brown University delivering this young man to the NFL. He was a defensive lineman, though, when he was an Ivy Leaguer and began his professional career with the Florida Huskers of the UFL. Cribbs thinks otherwise. Patriots build an early 2-touchdown lead on the Colts. Gillette Stadium. As we take a look at our nationwide Skycam, the Patriots turning mistakes into touchdowns, converting off the Cribbs fumble for 1, and then off the shorter field, if you will, 59-yard drive off the missed field goal. And the Colts on the handoff to Herron.
Well, a lot of mistakes being made by the Colts early on the offensive side. A couple chances to catch passes, and they get away from them. We know about the mistake on the punt by Josh Cribbs, but also on the defensive side, not lining up correctly, being a little slow with some of their adjustments. This New England offense moves a lot more. Last week, they played an offense that just sat there.
2nd and 5, and this time Herron holds on to it, steps up for the first down.
That's a big first down for a lot of reasons. Get momentum on their side a little bit, give them some confidence, quiet this crowd down, and it gets near the end of the first quarter. The wind right now is blowing mostly towards the Indianapolis Colts, and as a quarterback and as a coordinator, you always feel more confident calling those pass plays when you're downwind.
Final seconds of the first quarter. Hilton is not in on this play for the Colts, their top receiver. And that's knocked down by Ken Ninkovich. That's twice he's got a hand on it.
Yeah, it's really well done by him. He reads it right away. And he's bending back inside for 2 reasons. Yeah, he read the quarterback, he knocks it down. But also, Jim, it's if they get upfield pressure, they're going to have somebody there like him. He was in good position. If Luck moves, he can go with him and get to him before he throws the football.
2nd and 10. Luck launches it for Nix, who who was trying to race away from Logan Ryan, and the quarter ends on the incompletion. 14-0. New England after one will return after these messages. You're watching the AFC Championship game on CBS. Corey Redding not happy about what's happened to the Colts here through 15 minutes.
I don't think anybody on that sideline is very happy with what's gone on here so far.
He had some words with his teammate Newsom after that last touchdown scored by New England. 3rd and 10 to start the second quarter. Chip Nance, Bill Sims, Tracy Wolfson.
Pressing all the receivers.
Here they come on left. He got it away, and Hilton unable to hold on. Would have been short of the first anyway. McCourty came up just to make sure he didn't make the grab. His first target incomplete.
Yeah, McCourty comes from deep. You see him running across, you think you're free, but there comes Devin McCourty. That's what they did to him in the first game. And the fact that he's under pressure, that time by Chandler Jones, makes the throw off target, but they are pressuring the Indianapolis wide receivers, and they got to find a way to shake this tough man coverage.
McAfee. Downwind. Didn't catch it. It's Edelman. And he weaves through some heavy traffic for a 6-yard run back off the 43-yard punt. Tom Brady and the Patriots, 3 matchups against Luck and the Colts since Andrews' rookie year of 2012, and the Patriots have put up points in every game, big points, 59-24 back in the regular season of Luck's rookie year, and again Blunt last year in the divisional round ran wild. This year it was Jonas Gray in the regular season, 201 and 4 touchdowns.
Well, one thing, I just said it earlier, this New England offense, a lot of moving parts. Last week this defense played great against the Denver Broncos because the Broncos just came out there and lined up and they could match up. This time, everybody's always moving.
Play action, planting to feet and firing, and that was dangerously close to Mike Adams.
Mike Adams did a good job turning around after the receiver went down the field, but also Freeman, good job of being underneath the throw.
That was the first time that Brady has thrown it in Gronkowski's direction today.
Well, the Patriots, they said and told us, a lot of formation, shifting everything, because they want this Colts defense to have to do a lot of thinking and moving around and reacting. And when you're trying to figure out who to cover, it just takes away some of your aggressiveness.
And Adams, who was close to possibly being able to make a play on the pick, had 2 picks of Brady back in November. Here's the throw to Amendola. He's trying to somehow juke out LaRon Landry, and he gets within 2 yards of a first. 3rd and 2 coming up for New England.
Well, they throw this play about 5 times every game. Slot guy breaks out quick. They try to create a natural pick. The outside guy goes underneath. But Amendola showed his toughness when he's called upon in this offense. Even though he's not the first or second receiver a lot of times, Gronkowski and Edelman are. Boy, what a week last week.
Yeah, Amendola with 2 touchdown catches, 1 from Brady, 1 from Edelman. Sean Phillips on that defensive front for the Colts. Pass rushing specialist, 3rd and 2. Brady's pass, good for the first down. Edelman holds on in front of Vontae Davis.
A lot of movement on the Colts defense, that time coming with the blitz, trying to put some pressure on Tom Brady. But their short passing game is, if it's not the best in the NFL, it's going to be second best.
Edelman appears to be a little shaken up. He's had 2 third-down conversions in this game already. First down carry for Blunt. Nice stop and jump cut and breaking tackles near a first down. He got away from Sean Phillips, who I'd mentioned just entered the game. 55 for the Colts.
Chasing down the line too flat. You got to stay behind the runner. And that's what happened to this defense a lot, Jim, in week 11. They over-pursued. Everybody's hustling to the football too much, not waiting for the football to come back. The discipline's not there, and a good job by Blunt, cutting it back.
It was good for 10, right on the number for the first down. They're sending Edelman to the locker room for evaluation. Blunt again! So hard to bring down. He's made some nifty moves here. Not running over people, just shifting around them. That time for 8.
Right up the middle. The linebackers, the 2 middle linebackers, that is a big key to stop this running game. Defensive linemen take on the offensive linemen, and Freeman and DeQuell Jackson must be there to make these tackles.
2nd and 2, Blunt, first down, no problem. And everyone wondering, could the Colts figure out a way to stop this running game? And that answer at this point is no, as it's been really a running back carousel, if you will, on the season. For New England, they had a different leading rusher in September right through December. Every month led by a different player. Gray led them on the season. But he got half of his yardage total for the year in the one game against the Colts. Blunt was signed the week after the game against the Colts, mid-November. And he's getting the heavy load today. That's his 11th carry. Good for 4. Again, a runaway train in the divisional round last year was LeGarrette Blunt. 166 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Well, if you're a defensive lineman, really a big key. Your #1 goal is to hang in there against the run and don't worry about passing and trying to get to Tom Brady.
Caught by Ho'omanawanui at the 28.
Kind of reminds me of last week's game against the Baltimore Ravens. You start doing a lot of stuff, you give them all these formations. What to do? It makes the defense play very conservative and soft. And Tom Brady, like I said, the short passing game and those quick throws outside, wide receivers, tight end, wide open.
Bring in the extra lineman again. Cameron Fleming, 71, the rookie out of Stanford. Former teammate of Andrew Luck. Timeout called by New England. On the move again. Up 14-0. Coming out of a New England timeout. And 3rd and 1 to go for the Patriots. Converted the last 3 times on 3rd down. And Blunt. Look at the effort. Played it out until there was a whistle. And he's got the first down. The Colts looked like they almost had assumed he was down.
Yeah, they didn't finish the play. Something we saw them do last week. They were gang tackling, and here it is, and there's just not enough people hustling to the football to stop LeGarrette Blunt short of the first down. Of course, now we know he's a big guy. But the Colts defense, a lot of pressure on this defensive line to hold up against the run.
Shane Vereen takes Blunt's place in the backfield. Fake it to him. Brady, middle. Intercepted by DeQuell Jackson. And Vereen has the tackle, and we've got a penalty marker down at the line of scrimmage. And one Colt signaling that's holding against New England. And I think Belichick knows it.
Holding number 63, offense. That penalty has declined. The result of the play is an interception.
Well, the
First
Colts
down,
defense still had to come up with a play.
Timeout.
Going for Gronkowski, and DeQuell Jackson is the one who steps in front with the theft.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Frost Brewed Coors Light, the game's most refreshing beer. The all-new 2015 Acura TLX, it's that kind of thrill. And by Jupiter Ascending from Warner Brothers Pictures, in theaters February 6th.
The Colts had not come up with an interception in the last 4 games, going back to Week 15 against Houston. The last time they got a pick, and very timely for them, Phil.
It sure was. They were New England tried to catch him off guard with the pass. Since they were running it so well, DeQuell Jackson was ready for it.
3 tight ends on the field for Indianapolis. Allen and Fleener and Doyle. And look, from the goal line finds Allen. And he's got a gain of 9. What happened on the interception?
Well, I'll show you. Smart linebacker. Here's DeQuell Jackson. Here's Freeman. Watch them both as Gronkowski goes down the middle. Neither one is fooled by the run fake. And a nice job by DeQuell Jackson, seeing Gronkowski turning and looking for the football. He was all over it. And Mike Adams, the safety, was there too.
Great hands by Jackson, who spent his first 8 years in the league at Cleveland. Seeing his first ever postseason action this year.
I'm sure Tom Brady thought it would be wide open after the run.
2nd and 1. And Doyle with Patriots waiting for him. Ninkovich comes up. And look at Vince Wilfork getting into the pile also. And it generates a flag. And it might be because of that forearm shot from Wilfork.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 75, defense. 15-yard penalty.
Just when they had set the Colts back 5, they get the penalty on the personal foul.
Well, he was trying to hit him with the forearm as he was going down. Progress of the runner was stopped. That's why they threw the flag.
On a play that Ninkovich had really read and thwarted, and then Casillas finished him off. Wilfork coming in late and forearm to the back of the helmet, and it costs him.
Well, something we saw in the first 2 playoff games, we did both of the Colts playoff games. When there was nobody open downfield, Andrew Luck was throwing those short passes and getting something out of them. Today, New England being aggressive, clamping down, and not letting him have those easy short throws.
Hilton at the top, Arrington on him. Ball all the way out to the 31. Good time for Luck. And way too high for Hilton. Luck is now only 4 out of 14 on the game. And what about Hilton so far? No catches.
Well, a couple ways. Look where he is. He's covered here, a man short and a man deep. That's what they're doing with him. Here he comes across the field, and it's double coverage. McCourty, the safety, comes up and takes care of him. Then the last play, I like what they did here. Clear it out, give him room across the middle. Andrew Luck just overthrew it.
T.Y.'s worst statistical game of the season was against New England. You see it there, just held 24 yards on 3 catches. Tipton, it's his first carry.
Well, the old thing, we hear it every time I listen to the pregame show and everybody all week, and it's never a secret what Bill Belichick tries to do to your offense. He wants to take away your #1 weapon first. So the guy that scares you the most on Indianapolis, of course, is T.Y. Hilton.
Well, he had 100-yard performances against New England the first 2 times against the Patriots, but again held to 24 the last game, and no catches so far in this one. 3rd and 8. Luck rushes off the hit, goes down the field to Hilton, who makes the catch, but was the inbounds. They rule it a catch.
First off, Andrew Luck does an unbelievable job staying in the pocket, and that is some piece of footwork by T.Y. Hilton.
I mean, look at this.
Has the football cleanly and takes it to the ground.
They hurried to the line just in case. They didn't want the Patriots to get a chance to look at it. And it would have held up anyway had there been a ill-advised challenge. Luck goes ahead to the 28. And it looked like Coach Belichick was ready to take out the challenge flag.
Well, I think it was such a big play in this game. If it had been close, he would have challenged it just in the hopes that maybe he could get it turned around.
He was ready to fire, just waiting for the word up top. And again, Colts rushed to the line, but I'm sure it would have held up as a catch anyway. What an effort by Hilton. A 36-yard pass play has set up Indianapolis with its deepest penetration of the first half. 2nd and 7. Across the middle, and not this time for Hilton. McCourty on his back. You can tune in next Sunday for the Pro Bowl on ESPN. And then Sunday, February 1st. Super Bowl 49 on NBC. Seattle is already set to go back, having won the NFC Championship today in a miracle comeback, winning it in overtime. Herron is split out wide to the left, 3rd and 7. Can the Colts keep the drive going? Luck's pass. And there is a flag. Browner was on Allen. Talked about earlier how much Browner gets flagged during the course of a season. It's often, already once today. Again, this came on a 3rd down snap.
Illegal contact, number 91, defense.
And it's not on Browner, it's on Collins.
First down.
And it gives the Colts the first down.
Well, Jim, I was like you. I was watching Brandon Browner. The Colts at time were going for the little out and up, trying to get a score, being unpredictable, going against situations.
2 penalties on New England on this drive. 2 big ones.
54.
The personal foul and the illegal contact. First down from the 23. He was open. Tipton. The pass was too high.
It's the inside blitz. I think the Patriots are really good at this when they do it. Number 91, Collins, came in untouched, and Andrew Luck didn't have time to get the football on target. That's a couple times that the inside blitz by the linebackers has affected the Colts offense. Andrew Luck has not had time to make those throws.
Second and 10. Comes Nikovic after Luck. Flips it. Scott Fleener. And he reaches out. That spot is going to be good for the first.
Well, that was a good read by Andrew Luck. Fleener comes across, and you think he's going to be wide open, but there's another guy waiting for him. And Luck does a good job getting away from Rob Nikovic once again. Watch the backside guy dropping back in coverage. Picks up Fleener, but the scramble by Luck opens him up where he can make the throw.
Fleener's second catch. Luck is now 6 of 18, 33%. After 67% the last 2 weeks. He's got a first down at the 12. He's got 2 on the play clock. Takes it from under center. Has the time to find Fleener at the 10 to the 5 and reaching across with the ball out. Recovered by Arrington. And they're ruling him down inside of the 1.
Yeah, the play is ruled down. First off, when you see you're going in the middle of the field.
See the knees down already.
Yep, down by contact. But you got to put 2 hands on the football.
Luck hands it to Tipton, goes low, and finds the end zone. Touchdown Indianapolis, but a flag is in the end zone. And another one on the far side.
There we go. The fucking top.
Looks like it could be 12 men by the Patriots on defense. That was a nice little play they ran to Kobe Fleener, though, to get him down near the end zone.
12 players, defense. Penalty is declined. Result of the play is a touchdown.
And again, Luck, after the Fleener pass, hurried the team to the line. He handed it off to Tipton for the touchdown. You can see a couple of Patriots out at the 17-yard line, still on the field. How about a 10-play, 93-yard drive? Again, aided by 2 crucial penalties. Vinatieri adds the extra point. Colts living on the edge on that drive. Hilton just barely inbounds. Fleener a near fumble, all set up off the Jackson interception. And the rookie from Central Michigan has the touchdown. World's greatest detectives are back together with 7 all-new episodes in a row. Johnny Lee Miller and Lucy Liu star in a new Elementary Thursday at 10, 9 Central on America's most watched network.
Well, Jim, that drive by the Colts, that was work. Every play was work for them, but they hung in there and got it done. But more importantly, it gave their defense some rest and maybe give them a better chance to get organized and quit making mistakes on the defensive side.
Amendola waiting for the kickoff from McAfee. He takes a knee. The 93-yard drive, by the way, was the longest allowed by New England all year long. We have another flag down back where the ball was kicked. Had there not been the penalty on Wilford right there, personal foul penalty, it would have been 3rd and 6 back at the 11.
Backed up. Tough situation, yes.
Offside, number 31 of the kicking team. New England has elected a 5-yard penalty and will re-kick.
Dewey McDonald left early, so a re-kick coming from McAfee. And the Secretary of State, John Kerry, leaning over and having a word with Robert Kraft and Jonathan Kraft. Here at Gillette Stadium. Of course, you know the news that Boston was nominated to be America's candidate for the 24 Summer Olympics, and the Kraft family getting involved in that, winning bid that we'll see if it ends up being voted through by the IOC, but offering up this very stadium for the opening and closing ceremonies. They would be here should Boston get it in the international vote. First penalty of the game against the Colts, and Amendola, as the wind has shifted a little bit, she's into a breeze now. They have a chance to run it back. That's why they made him re-kick from the 2, 25, 30, 32. So they net an additional 7 by making him re-kick, brought down by Andrew Jackson.
Well, Jim, let's look at what's happening with the Indy defense. How about this motion by Gronkowski? It gets Edelman on the linebacker. Hey, it's just 6 or 7 yards, but they're all big. Look at all the movement. A guy in motion, tight end goes across, gets you thinking everywhere, and it's a short pass to Dudley for the touchdown. But you see this so much. Let's see if this Indy defense is going to start adapting to all this movement.
And you see Edelman's back in. He had been sent to the locker room after being nicked earlier. Brady on first down. It's Marine. He's able to shake off Adams for just a moment, but not Freeman, who floored him after 4. The 2015 Pro Bowl presented by McDonald's is fantasy football for real. Hall of Famers Michael Irvin, Chris Carter. They're going to select the teams at the Pro Bowl draft this Wednesday, and then you can watch the Pro Bowl live from the home of Super Bowl 49, University of Phoenix Stadium. Again next Sunday, January 24th, 25th.
Edelman's in the backfield, got to be high alert.
2nd and 6. And Amendola unable to hold on to it. 3rd and 6 coming up.
Yeah, the football looked like it got away from Tom Brady just a little bit that time, and the angle of the pass and where it was made it hard for Amendola to make that catch. He's moving around the pocket, and then watch how it comes out. Well, yeah, the nose got down. Maybe the wind did it. Whatever, made it a tough catch.
Gronkowski comes all the way to the near side. He's got the safety, Mike Adams, on him.
Well, everybody's sitting still. Now you can get up there and play tighter as a defensive back.
You always like Gronkowski in a one-on-one matchup, but underneath it's Edelman wide open with his 5th catch. And another 3rd down conversion. The 3rd time in this half Edelman's done that. That's a gain of 12.
Yeah, I thought they were going to stand still, but watch as he comes underneath the tight end, and it makes it impossible to follow. You have to have somebody inside. They blitz, so there's no inside linebacker. to help out Greg Toller. You know, a lot of times when you play the Patriots, you take your free defender and you put him right in the middle just for situations like that to take the short crossers as they go across the field.
3.5 to go. Quarter number 2. From the 49, it's Blunt. And he's got a quick 5.
You know, I talk about the Patriots, Josh McDaniels, the offensive coordinator. They do as many plays for the quarterback, Jim, as any team in the league. In other words, like that one, they know you go out there, it's man. They say, okay, right away, there's one guy you're going to throw it to. That's Julian Edelman. So he helps the quarterback out a lot. Tom Brady takes advantage of it.
2 tight ends. 2nd and 5. And back operating in Indianapolis territory. Blunt. That's back. Waits. Picks up the first before he's wrestled down. Gain of 8.
Well, it's the backside. Look at these blocks. Boy, what a block by Sebastian Vollmer. Cuts his man down, and that's why LeGarrette Blount can cut it back and pick up the first down.
Look at the move he made to get around Darius Butler, a former Patriot. And Blunt's up to 59 yards in this first half. New England first down. Blunt again with a big lane. And he's got a little more than 9 on that one.
Well, this has been the problem for most of the year for that Indy defense, trying to hang in there against the run.
2-minute warning. Patriots lead it 14-7. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Verizon halftime report. JB, Tony, Bart, Boomer, and Coach Cowher. Highlights and analysis of the first half and their reaction to the NFC Championship game on the Verizon halftime report. 2nd and 1 for New England from the 29 of the Colts. The sneak for Brady with help from Devlin. And he's got the first down.
It's not a good time when the quarterback sneak goes for 3 yards. But one thing we're seeing here, Jim, is the offensive linemen of the New England Patriots are getting right to the linebackers. No defensive linemen's holding them up. So DeQuell Jackson and Jarrell Freeman, they can't find the runner because they're getting blocked by the offensive lineman.
On first down from the gun, here comes blitz by Freeman. Ball tipped and incomplete. Landry tried to make a play on it. We got a flag back in the backfield. And Brady got hit after the throw, and it may have generated that penalty marker.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, number 50, defense. 15-yard penalty, first down.
It's on Jarrell Freeman.
Well, it was a good job. The blitz. They're saying helmet to helmet. Well, the helmet did not hit him in the chin. He looked like he hit him with the face.
He hit him in the chest. Mike Carey is in the booth with us. Mike?
But he did have his head down, hit him right with the forehead, right into the chest. That's a foul every time.
Half the distance. Spots it at the 13. This time they stuff LeGarrette Blount. It's Arthur Jones who plugged it up. And look at Arthur Jones.
He was going. He went for the flop. That was good acting. Didn't fool anybody, though.
Approaching a minute to go. Vereen now flanking Brady. Second and 10. Looking for Gronk. And Gronkowski did not get both feet down. Ball came out anyway.
Quick snap. Rob Gronkowski has Mike Adams, but his momentum is going so fast, and a good job by Mike Adams pushing him out. Oh, that's Greg Toller. I'm sorry, number 28. Looks like 29.
It's the third time they've targeted Gronkowski in this game. No catches, though.
Well, it's interesting. When he splits out wide, we've seen it a couple times. They are keeping their corners out there to cover Rob Gronkowski. No linebackers, and so far, no safety on him in coverage. Davis on Gronkowski this time.
Gronkowski
Well, they're confused on the defensive side.
Yeah, and timeout called by Indianapolis. They better figure it out on that defensive side. They've allowed 5 straight conversions on 3rd down.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by America's Navy and by Nationwide. Nationwide is on your side.
Well, it was a good timeout, I thought, by the Colts defense. Look at it back there. Mike Adams going, they're confused. Who's going to cover who? And it's a big situation. Use that timeout.
Greg Minuski, the defensive coordinator, 12-year player in the league, as a linebacker and special teamer. 3rd and 10.
52's the mark. 52. You waiting?
Brady steps up away from the heat, cuts it under, and near the first, going to be a little bit short. He did get away from Freeman to pick up extra yardage.
Yeah, there's nobody open down the field, and Tom Brady last week scrambled for a touchdown. How about this little move? Gets away, you said it, from Freeman, makes it close enough where the Patriots are going to think about going forward on 4th down.
Going to bring out the chain gang with 31 seconds to go.
Well, you have the short. Oh, they're going to go for this.
Brady's so tough on the sneak throughout his career. And they're keeping the offense on the field. Now timeout's called. Called by New England, facing 4th and inches. The Verizon halftime report is coming up shortly. Boomer and Bart have a little chat. The coach and Tony Gonzalez and James Brown, they're getting set with their first half analysis.
Well, the big thing here, you said it already once in the game, if you're the Colts defense, the first thing you got to do is take away the quarterback sneak. If they take it outside on you, that's okay, but don't let Tom Brady quick snap it and get the first down.
From the 3.5, 4th and inches. Brady on the sneak, and again he's got help from behind.
It's close, that second surge, maybe he got it, but the initial movement was not good enough.
For the second time, James Devlin, who caught a touchdown earlier in this game, pushed Brady across. Watch 46. Never gave up on the play. Because Brady was stopped at first, Phil.
Yep, and there it was. You said it. The second effort, Devlin. Arthur Jones did a wonderful job getting penetration between the center and the guard, but there was nobody there to help him out to stop Tom Brady.
23 seconds to go and 1st and goal. Patriots are trying to get a timeout call. And it's been granted. It's been taken off the board, as you can see at the top. Brady, yep, right there.
Football sneaking forward.
No timeouts left for the Patriots. Stepping back, going to the end zone, and incomplete. Landry with a tight coverage on Amendola. Actually, it's Butler. It's Butler, Darius Butler.
Really good because they've been going across the field. Well, they change it up and he goes out. They switch it. Beautiful job. And Butler was all over.
And that timeout used by the Patriots, a big one because they're out of timeout. So 19 seconds to go, limits their options, and still looks like some confusion on the Indianapolis side getting set for this snap. On Gronkowski got one-on-one at the bottom. Brady's looking his way, and it's to Gronkowski, incomplete. Davis broke it up.
Almost the exact same play we saw last week. Everybody to the right side, and Gronkowski on the backside one-on-one. And Vontae Davis stays tight to him, doesn't let Gronkowski push him away, and makes a good play. Just because that hand's on there, that is not a foul. Crowd going, sees a replay, and they're thinking it's a foul, but it was not. It was good coverage.
Now 3rd and goal with 16 seconds. And now it's a timeout by Indy.
3rd and final timeout, Indianapolis, 30-second timeout.
Well, the fact that they're keeping these corners out on Gronkowski has worked really well so far in this game. Nice little fake to the outside by Rob Gronkowski, but not enough to get Vontae Davis off. And Jim, you talked about it. We talked to Vontae Davis yesterday. He talked about covering Gronkowski, said it might happen in the game, and some people think he was the best cover corner in the NFL this past year.
All kinds of rating services out there. One of them had him rated as the #1 corner on the year, whereas his brother Vernon been in the NFC title game the 3 previous years, and he was always there to support his brother. Went and actually wore his brother's uniform.
Went to all the games? Yeah. That's right. Well, big down here, of course. Hold him till field goal would be a major momentum boost for the Indianapolis Colts.
3rd and goal, and Brady steps back to the 10, goes to the end zone, to Vereen, incomplete. And Freeman was the defender.
Well, they put him in motion. They got him out there where they wanted, where it was one-on-one with the linebacker, and Freeman once again comes through. The pass was pretty hard. I don't know. Yeah, it was so quick. Vereen had no chance.
So the Patriots bring out Gostowski. They just ran 7 snaps inside the 15, but can't get it across. So a 21-yard field goal try from the left hash coming up, and Gostowski's kick is good.
Well, what a job by the Colts. The tight coverage, what we saw last week and we've seen in these playoffs, the strength of their defense is the fact that they can cover one-on-one down the field, and that tight coverage came through for them on that goal line stand against the Patriots, who gave them 3 different looks, 3 different style plays, and the Colts had the coverage on all 3.
Patriots ran 15 plays to go 65 yards down the field and settle for a field goal. This was the first down play.
Yep.
Butler
all over it. Yep. Nothing there.
Well defended. 2nd down to Gronkowski with Davis on him one-on-one.
Yep.
And in the last play, Freeman on Vereen.
And Jarrell Freeman, you know, he's the linebacker that is the fastest of the group and the best cover guy. So by going to that side, you got Freeman instead of DeQuell Jackson. Of course, he did a great job early in the game getting the interception. So the Colts, I know it's 17-7, but look at it this way. Did they make a lot of mistakes here in the first half?
Well, especially early with the drops and the botched fumble attempt, or a punt return attempt by Cribbs.
Well, that having trouble on defense, lining up, just to be down only 17-7 is a victory right now for them after that first half.
Gostowski puts it on the ground. It's picked up really quickly. And out at the 42-yard line is Colt Anderson.
Man, he made a quick decision and picked it up and ran. Now it gives the Colts the opportunity. The win shouldn't be a factor. Andrew Luck can reach the end zone easily from where they're at if they want to try that.
Got to take a shot at something here.
I think you do.
Just to think that Luck so far in the first half has only had 1 connection with Hilton. That great sideline hugging catch for 36, but no catches by Nix, no catches by Wayne, and no catches by Moncrief.
Well, they're not going to try. They're just going to kneel on it and be happy with the situation the way it is now.
Why wouldn't you just launch one and even try to get a defensive pass interference?
Well, hard to get them in
the last
situations, yes, to get a pass. And just the fact, why take the risk? Maybe that's how you got to look at it. maybe it's another hit you save off of Andrew Luck, too, by him holding the football.
Again, New England deferred to the second half. We'll get the third quarter kickoff. Let's go down to Tracy.
Thanks, Jim. Coach, a huge stop there, but defensively it seems as though your team is not all on the same page a few times in that first half. What's been the trouble?
Yeah, we got to calm down. They got us reeling a little bit, and so once we got the thing calmed down, like you said, the interception by DeQuell was huge, and then that stop right there was obviously big. We got to slow down the run. They got 80 yards on us. Third down, we have not been good. We got to do better in both those areas.
Just one reception from your wide receivers. How important is it to get them involved in the second half?
No, we have to. We got to win our matchups. They do a great job. They're matching up, and they're winning the matchups right now. We got to get loose. We got to get free. We got to make plays.
Appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
All right, Tracy. They actually allowed 93 yards rushing in that first half. 68 by LeGarrette Blount, who also scored a touchdown. 17-7. New England at the intermission. We're back with the Verizon halftime report after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Patriot balance in the first half. 95 yards passing by Brady, 93 yards rushing by the team, leading it by 10. Last year, Pepsi brought a halftime show to Nebraska and Texas. Tonight, Pepsi is bringing a halftime show to Rochester, New York. See Katy Perry live at the Pepsi Super Bowl 49 halftime show, where she invites special guest Lenny Kravitz to rock the show with her. Get hyped for halftime. Jim Nance, Bill Sims, Tracy Wolfson, and Mike Carey back here at Gillette Stadium as Pat McAfee gets set to send it down to Danny Amendola. McAfee tops in the league this year, delivering touchbacks on kickoffs. And this one's even better for the Colts as Amendola runs it out to about the 13. 2 quarters to go in this. We're going to find out who's heading to Super Bowl 49 to take on Seattle. An announcement earlier again today by the league that Thursday Night Football is returning to CBS and the NFL Network next season.
Are you happy about that?
Of course I am.
Yeah, me too. You know, it was a lot of fun this past year. We saw a lot of good football. Got to cover a lot of teams we usually don't get a chance to see. And, of course, I'm excited to wait to see what happens here in the second half.
I hate to see it come to an end for us. You know, it's been just a blur, this whirlwind of going around the league and seeing a lot of teams, like you said, we hadn't seen in the past. What about the Colts here in the second half?
Well, I think Indianapolis, they went in at halftime, maybe got a chance to figure out what they're going to do on the defensive side and make adjustments where they don't look so confused and they can stay aggressive in their pass coverage. That's the strength of their team. They got to let that show here in the second half. And when you look at the New England Patriots, they got to go in at halftime and be disappointed about what they did too in the first half, and they got to stay with the run game, I think, a little more than they did in the first half. Be a little more patient with it.
Walt Anderson and his crew holding up play for a moment as they look over toward the Patriots sideline.
Well, we're all looking at each other. None of us know why it was held up, but
now they're set, ready to go. Second thought. Mike Carey, what's the situation here?
Well, what it looks like is that they still spotted the ball with a kicking ball, waiting for one of the ball guys to come down and give them a regular scrimmage ball.
Okay.
Which is a big difference because the kicking balls are not rubbed up near as much as the game balls used by the quarterbacks. They would be slicker with the rain.
Empty out the backfield for the first play of the third quarter. And hook up there with LaFell. Let's go down to Tracy Wolfson.
Thanks, Jim. Bill Belichick wants improvement on both sides of the ball. He said they did not finish drives. They've been stopping themselves. And one injury note for the Patriots, defensive tackle Silver Salinga is right now dealing with a foot injury. They do hope he returns. Jim?
And a running play by the Patriots. Vereen Stopped pretty quickly, so it'll be a 3rd and 2 coming up for New England.
You know, the other thing is, too, now you think of the New England Patriots offense. Yes, the offensive line, they ran it, but Rob Gronkowski, always such a big weapon for what they do in the pass game, and not much success for him in the first half. You know, every time he split out, they're used to getting matchups they like. The Colts kept defensive backs on him and won that battle.
Yeah, and held him without a catch. 3rd and 2. Brady goes right side, wide open. Hits Edelman with a wiggle. Picking up an extra 10 with that move. And now that's 4 times in this game. Edelman's delivered a first down on a 3rd down reception.
Well, they lose him. Once again, what happened? They brought the receivers together, 3 of them close, and you saw the Colts chasing, and nobody picks up Julian Edelman. So what a job by Tom Brady. Which Josh McDaniel says it's unbelievable when you make a mistake on the defensive side, Brady can find the open receiver.
It's Blunt who had a big first half, and he keeps on barreling ahead. He's got another 6.
Well, gets a chance. He's such a big running back. When you give him a little momentum, it's hard to bring him down. He can break the arm tackles, and we see he just keeps falling forward for that extra yard or 2.
Now over 100 on the ground as a team. Right at midfield, 2nd and 4 to Blunt. And he cuts it back inside. He's a yard short of a first.
Well, big story always when you cover New England is Rob Gronkowski. Early in the game, you saw he's covered by the linebacker, and Jackson made the interception. Then down on the goal line, the best corner for the Colts, Vontae Davis, knocked it down.
Steady rain now at the start of this 3rd quarter, 3rd and 1. And Blunt again gets past the line of scrimmage. Tries to stiff arm on Toller, who throws him down at the 25, but another huge gain, 22 on that carry.
Well, the offensive lineman, Conley gets a good double team. Nate Solder, the left tackle, seals it off. Boy, Nate Solder, number 77, sealed it, caught him and sealed it to the inside. And LeGarrette Blunt, good read, takes it out there and picks up big yards.
I tell you, Devlin always looking for somebody to hit, also helped free him. And he's now at 99 yards. Looking for 100 here. He's got it. And a whole lot more as Blunt. Is it Blunt or is it Marshawn Lynch? The way he's running the football.
Yeah, it's a good comparison. And this offensive line, a good quick snap. Rob Gronkowski gets Studebaker, blocks him. That's the thing about Rob Gronkowski. Excellent receiver, we know that, but also an excellent blocker. The Indianapolis Colts thin on the defensive line.
2nd and 1. Blunt. Hop stop, moves near the first. I think it's going to be enough for it. As Blunt's picked up right where he left off divisional weekend last year against this very team.
Well, a little wham block by Devlin. And look at this, these couple times he has cut it back, made people miss. And look at this blocking here. Both linebackers blocked by offensive linemen. The linemen are double teaming the inside defensive tackles. One comes off, picks up the linebacker, and there's nobody there to make the tackle. And it's raining, it's windy. Good time to run the football.
Third and 1. They've already had 2 plays over 20 yards in 3rd down situations on this drive. And Brady, he's got Nate Solder, his tackle, and he's in for the touchdown.
That's a legal pass, of course, because he reported that he was eligible. The defense knew this. Here he is. And he didn't stay with him. So once he reports it's eligible, somebody on the defensive side has to stay with him to cover him down the field.
First career reception for Nate Solder, Brady's starting left tackle. And a 16-yard touchdown to complete this opening drive of the third quarter. Going the distance in 87 yards, 9 plays. Blunt did a lot of the heavy lifting, and then Solder held on to it. And what a celebration for the offensive lineman of New England. Bet you wouldn't have guessed that Solder would have more catches than Gronkowski, and in fact finding the end zone. A little version, if you will, of the trickery they used in formations last week, Phil.
Yes. And it happened fast, and Indianapolis did not adjust to it.
Gibbs runs up to make the catch and run it out to the 23. So now 17 down as the Patriots really performed on third down on that drive, including that play to Solder for 6.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV. And by Nissan. Innovation that excites.
17-point hole for Indianapolis. And the weather is breaking down here. There's Luck with pressure, and the ball comes out of his hand awkwardly as he was hit by Ninkovich on the release.
Caught him on the blitz, but let's go back and look at it. The 5 eligible receivers, that is Solder. Look at the guy up top. That's Fleming, who was been eligible all night long, and they switched it to Nate Solder, and it caught the defense by surprise.
Solder giving a little play-by-play to Marcus Cannon. Yeah, at least 10 times in this game, they had announced at Walt Coleman that Cameron Fleming was eligible. And that time, I guess they were conditioned to think it would be Fleming again, but he did announce that Solder was eligible. Caught him off guard. Run it with Heron. Walt Anderson, I should say. It's just a 2-yard run that play by Heron. Remember this game, Phil. Lyman scoring touchdowns. Colts and Patriots 06 championship game. Logan Mankins, Jeff Saturday with a recovery. Dan Klecko even caught a touchdown in that game. It's one where the Patriots led by 18 and Peyton Manning led the Colts back for that 35-34 epic win on their way to beating Chicago in Super Bowl 41.
Patriots blitz again, tight coverage.
3rd and 8. And the pass out of bounds in the area of T.Y. Hilton. Arrington had him covered.
Yeah, Jim, they got to move these guys around or something to give them a chance to get open. Darrelle Revis all over Dante Moncrief. The other side, nothing open down the middle. And every time Andrew Luck, not every time, but most of the time, you can see that time it was Ninkovich. Somebody's hanging, and if he moves, they're trying to break away from that pack of defensive linemen and get to him quick. Made Andrew Luck throw it away that time.
McAfee to punt it to Edelman. And Amendola, the up man, makes the fair catch. Just 37 yards that punt traveled. Colts had dominated the third quarter the last 2 weeks in the playoffs, but already the Patriots have a touchdown on the board in the third. Andrew Luck looking for some answers, talking to some of the assistants. 7 for 21 so far for Luck in this game, 89 yards.
Well, pressure against him and nobody getting open. That's pretty tough for a quarterback to do much.
Brady, there's Gronkowski's first catch. And he's back over to the Colts side of the field to the 46, gain of 16.
Yeah, this time nobody follows Rob Gronkowski across the formation. So the Patriots They got this Colts defense guessing. Playing at a tempo. The defense not getting ready.
And look at this formation right here, Phil. We just got one lineman left to the center. And Brady is sacked for the first time by Corey Redding.
Well, that's a couple times they've tried that formation, but it did not work. So you said it, here it is. No receiver to this side. They declared the person who caught 2 passes last week as an ineligible. Mana Wanui. But the defense ready for that time coverage down the field, and Tom Brady didn't see what he wanted and got sacked.
And a loss of 6. That's the first sack on either side in this game as the rain intensifies. Making the grab, LaFell shaking off one tackler. Got away from Adams. Gain of 9. With NFL Mobile, watch every playoff game, including Super Bowl 49. Live on your smartphone. Download and learn more. NFL.com/mobile. Colts got a little chicken broth on the sideline. Although the game time temperature at opening kick was 51. And Freeman hobbles to the sideline. Mwamba comes in for Freeman. Non-contact, but Freeman hobbles off. 3rd and 7. Patriots destroyed them on their last drive on 3rd down. Big gainers, including the touchdown play. 3rd and 7. Gronkowski made the catch. Let's see, forward progress is going to be enough for the first.
Good job by Tom Brady. They got the perfect coverage on that time. Sergio Brown's just too late making the adjustment and coming up. Looks like he caught it, and looks like he crossed the first down yard marker. But you had what you wanted on the defensive side. You had in and out coverage, Jim, on Rob Gronkowski. Sergio Brown, when he breaks in, you have to take him.
Right here, Walt Anderson announces that Fleming is eligible on that line as a receiver. Brady having no problem with the rain-soaked conditions. 6 for 6 in this quarter. And looking for more over the top to Edelman with the grab at the 14.
Oh, everybody, what a fake by Tom Brady. When you get the linebackers to come up and look for the tackle, that's one thing. But when you get the defensive backs to not even see the best wide receiver going down the field uncovered.
Edelman now with 7 catches for 84 yards. And a first down carry blocked. Running behind Wendell. And the Patriots are looking for a knockout punch in quarter number 3, the way they're going.
Yeah, it's just a different looking team. They are just overpowering this defense now. Nobody can get off the blocks. Look at the lineman there, Montori Hughes. No defensive lineman can get free. And it was there in the first half. I think sometimes their choices, they got away from the run a few times. It really hurt the New England offense. But wearing out a defense that's thin up front, not enough depth with the defensive line of the Colts, and they are tiring out.
And Freeman's come back in after missing a couple of plays at linebacker. 2nd and 1 and a sneak for the first. Brady takes it all the way down to the 1. Well, they're tiring out, and there's also confusion.
Yes, you got both. So when you're having a tough time lining up,
Flag come out after the huddle by the officials.
Illegal formation, number 77 of offense. Number 71 reported, number 77 did not report. That's a 5-yard penalty, still second down.
So Solder this occasion did not report. Belichick doesn't agree. I would think with some of these formations it could draw some confusion for the officials.
Yes. And the offense, every once in a while, all these substitutions you got to report, they got confused this past play. And
you know, until last week when Patriots came out in the third quarter and started going with all these Alabama, if you will, formations, because this is something that Nick Saban ran during the regular season, and Belichick and Saban are close.
It's a 5-yard penalty. Number 77 did not report. Only number 71 reported.
So Mike Harry, help sort it out for us.
Well, in the mix here, what happened is New England substituted 2 ineligibles to become eligible. Only 1 reported. So when the other doesn't report, that results in a 5-yard penalty because it is a deceptive move on the defense.
So it had been a 2nd and 1 play, and Brady had picked up the first on the sneak, but now they'll send it back to 2nd and 6 at the 10. And they just go back to Blunt. He's a little more than a yard away. All these quirky formations, Phil. It's an innovation. You wonder, well, where's this been all these years? It's like when the Wildcat came out in a game here when Miami came up and played New England a handful of years ago. Why haven't we seen this? How come someone hasn't figured it out in the past to do it?
well, yeah, you're right. And New England's always kind of been to the forefront of these new things. They went with that spread offense years ago before everybody else. We saw their hurry up a couple years ago with Tom Brady and the runs that worked so well. This is just another wrinkle they were ahead of the curve on.
3rd and 1. End zone, touchdown, Gronkowski.
Tom Brady, during practice, went down to that exact spot with Rob Gronkowski, and I'll bet you they threw this exact pass about 15 different times.
And you said we're going to see this on Sunday, and it's probably going to work, and it did, beating Toller.
It's pretty much the same play we saw to the other side, but this time the matchup is against Toller instead of Vontae Davis. The coverage is good, but the throw was perfect, and you throw into a guy that just had, he's tall, 6'6" or 7, long arms. Hard to knock that pass away.
You can only leave Gronkowski in one-on-one coverage for so long. He's got 3 catches in the quarter. Brady has 3 touchdowns on the game. And Tom Brady just last week took over the all-time postseason touchdown passes, moving past both Favre and Montana. This is his 49th career postseason touchdown pass, trying to take the Patriots to Super Bowl 49.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Best Buy and by IBM. Today there's a new way to work, and it's made with IBM. Learn more at IBM.com.
Back here at Gillette Stadium in a downpour as the Patriots are pouring it on now at 31-7 with an explosive third quarter. And the rain has certainly not been problematic for Brady in the quarter. 8 for 8, 2 touchdown passes.
Well, you know, they have an indoor facility up here, and I don't know if the Patriots players know what it looks like, but if it rains like this, they always stay outdoors in practice.
Gronkowski gets not a clean handle on it. No reason to run it out. Edelman, another big game. Blunt breaking through the line, and Gronkowski with a touchdown too. Find out who will take home this year's most prestigious awards, a 2-hour event. Night before the Super Bowl, plus the Man of the Year presented by Nationwide will be revealed. 3 finalists, Anquan Bolden, Thomas Davis, and Aaron Rodgers, all vie for the game's most honorable award. 3 and change to go in the third quarter. And the Colts find Nix for the first time today. And their first down of the second half. Gain of 15.
Good fake by King Nix. Fakes outside, gets inside. It's the first Colt wide receiver we've seen open in quite a while.
Yeah, really. It's over to the sideline to Dwayne Allen.
And here's why, Jim. T.Y. Hilton, their best receiver, he's being double teamed a lot, so it's hard for him to get open. Darrelle Revis is taking Dante Moncrief a lot of times, who they think is the downfield threat.
And Moncrief's been totally taken out of the game by Revis. And they're at the bottom of the screen. Luck with a spiral to Nix. Unable to come up with the catch.
Well, look at these matchups. T.Y. Hilton always has the safety looking his way in case you throw it down the field. That safety's going to be there. Come across the field, it's good to play corner when you know you have help. So you can gamble and overplay certain routes. That's what the Patriots have done. That's where they've had great success all year long. That's why if you don't run the football well, they can clamp down on you man-to-man coverage.
3rd and 5. And look out, it's intercepted! It's Revis to the 20 and tackled by Luck.
When Andrew Luck goes to throw the football, there is nobody out there.
One of the first times today he challenged Revis.
Here's Revis. Just watch what happens. They throw the football out there. He gets caught inside, but he sees he gets off and goes out there and makes Andrew Luck threw it nice and soft because he saw no defenders out there. And what a job by Darrelle Revis. They finally tried to bunch the receivers together to cause some confusion, and it ends up backfiring against the Colts.
Well, he let go of Moncrief, and then he went over to take on Hilton and had it figured out precisely. One, middle of the field. One to the end zone, and a touchdown. Unstoppable.
I think New England broke their will a little while ago, but they were getting overpowered. The Indianapolis defense, and this says it all. Nobody gets off the block, and then 2 free tacklers cannot bring him down before Blood gets in the end zone.
Just one play after the Revis interception. Blunt with his 2nd touchdown of the game. The Patriots find 3 touchdowns in less than 8 minutes, including 2 here in the last minute and 11 seconds. Luck had to know it about this point. It was going to go the other way. Revis jumped it right in front of Hilton, took off to the 13. And then Blunt. This team does not know how to bring him down.
Well, first off, I think you could see on the interception, and Andrew Luck had no idea there was going to be somebody out there to undercut it because how soft he threw it. Then he has to watch Blunt score, which makes it tough, of course, and Tom Brady can celebrate with the best of them. What a difference right now. Last week, the Ravens threw the ball with tremendous success, especially in the first half. It's because New England is so afraid of the run. Well, today we're seeing a defense that is not afraid of the run and able to do what they kind of been built to do, and that's to play very good pass coverage, which they have done here today.
I mentioned earlier how the Colts had dominated the third quarter against both the Bengals and the Broncos, and in fact had only given up one field goal in the second half in the last two games total. But 21 points in this third quarter. They've surrendered to the Patriots. And again, the storyline is so similar to what it was 53 weeks ago when they put up 234, mainly behind Blunt. 246, mainly behind Jonas Gray. And now today, we're talking 167 so far by the Patriots on the ground. All totaled, the last four meetings against the Colts, 14 rush touchdowns. Another dangerous though, Arrington, airtight, but a flag is on Arrington.
Pass interference, number 25, defense. Push down at the spot of the foul.
Arrington's had a tremendous game to this point.
I'll go back to just talking about the Colts defense, Jim. That's all they talked about. They said after they played the New England Patriots, they drew a line in the sand and they were going to stop the run, and that's all they talked about to us, how they were ready for it. And some early success. But as the game wore on, the power of New England's offensive line just wore down the defensive front completely of the Colts.
From the 33, Locke launches downfield, incomplete. Trying to get to Moncrief, the speedy rookie out of Ole Miss, but Revis helped break it up.
Well, the most aggressive person usually wins in football, and the defensive backs for New England have been so aggressive, and that is good timing and good coverage by Darrelle Revis. If you say he has a weak spot, if you want to attack him, boy, it's hard to say it. Maybe it is going deep down the field, but he was ready for it that time against Moncrief.
Moncrief without a catch. Reggie Wayne without a catch. Hilton with only one. Second and 10. That's Collins chasing after Luck. Just throws it away.
One pattern that New England's defense has had late in the year. Second half, they come out. 91's going to come on the blitz. And right away gets the angle. Tipton can't get over there and block him. Andrew Luck does the only thing he can do. Get out of the pocket. And try to protect yourself.
Chandler Jones crashing into him. Of course, you got the Jones brothers on each team here today. Arthur for the Colts. Both of them missed the game back in November because of injuries. 3rd and 10. Look at Ninkovich spinning around and getting into the face of Luck. Incomplete. Ninkovich giving the lineman matched up across from him a really hard time. Wrights.
Joe Wrights. Well, the initial protection is long enough. That's a good spin inside. What a gap between the right tackle and the right guard. And Rob Ninkovich took advantage of it. But, hey, the offensive line, their initial protection for the game has been okay. The blitzing linebackers have hurt. And the coverage is making Andrew Luck, of course, hold the football too long.
And they're going to punt with 1.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. Down 31. Edelman back to the 9. And here he goes. Edelman, the all-time punt returner for the Patriots, takes it to the 45. The former quarterback at Kent State, Edelman, who broke all of the combined yardage records for a quarterback at Kent State that belonged to Josh Cribbs, the returner on the other side of this game. And as you see, a marker is out. What a block on that return, by the way, by Bolden of the Patriots. Brandon Bolden, who had started at running back the last 2 games.
Ineligible player of the kicking team, number 83, was downfield prior to the kick. That 5-yard penalty will be enforced from the end of the run. First down, New England.
And we've got an Indianapolis player down all the way back at the 18. It's Studebaker. And that's the block I spoke about.
Well, when you talk about Julian Edelman, the Patriots, they'll tell you he's a special player, and you see it. Return guy. Tough as they come. You said it, college quarterback, converted to a wide receiver, learned under Wes Welker, but he's a little different from Wes Welker. He lines up outside and runs routes as an outside receiver, not always in the slot, where it's a little different. How about last week? And then, of course, last week he threw that touchdown pass. Tom Brady said he called the play in the huddle, and it had a special formation. He said as soon as he said the formation, he said Julian Edelman's eyes just lit up like, oh, my gosh. And I guess Edelman actually got a little nervous about throwing that pass.
I know you hate quarterback rating, but for the record, Edelman with that pass, first of his career, 51-yard touchdown, has the highest quarterback rating now in Patriot history.
Oh, is that right?
Okay.
Well, you got to throw 100 to qualify. So.
Okay, that was a 1-pass minimum stat.
Yeah, there you go.
By the way, number 2 is Adam Vinatieri. Who threw a touchdown
against St.
Louis,
Louis,
member of the
right?
Patriots at St. Louis years ago. Pagano comes out to lend a little support to Studebaker. And again, the Pro Bowl presented by McDonald's. It's a big week coming up. You got the Pro Bowl draft on this Wednesday, January 21st. You can watch the Pro Bowl live from the home of Super Bowl 49 on Sunday, January 25th on ESPN. Go to NFL.com/Pro Bowl to learn more. Chris Carter, Michael Irvin, the captains for that game. And that's Blunt picking up 2. Most playoff wins by a coach-quarterback tandem. Landry and Roger Staubach on this short list, with Noel and Bradshaw and Belichick and Brady on their way to number 20 together.
Well, coaching, of course, is huge in the NFL. Separates many teams, but what they've done on offense today with the power and all the unique plays where they've given Tom Brady, the first receiver has been open for him, just like this.
LaFell twisted out of bounds. We just had on that list Landry and Staubach, and Belichick with his win last week tied Tom Landry for the most wins in postseason history by a coach, and he's going to move past the old Cowboy legend with his 21st win here tonight.
Yeah, we had a little talk about Tom Landry. He says the things he innovated, the flex defense, substituted defense, a running back on passing downs.
Third quarter has come to a close. The Patriots owned it. Back after this message and a word from your local station. New England has scored in every quarter, but a 21-point outburst in the third has opened this up to 38-7.
Well, look at those 5 for 5 on third downs, the total yardage, just total domination by the Patriots.
Perfect quarter for Brady, 9 out of 9 in the third. Gronkowski drops it on the slant.
Well, there you are again, though, Jim. Look what they did. Guy comes in motion. They create some confusion. Rob Gronkowski comes underneath Edelman, wide open.
Fourth down, and they keep the offense on the field.
Yeah, no use going for a long field goal here. Go for the first down. Eat up more time.
Brady's pass again to Edelman, who's been his go-to guy when he's looked for conversions. 5 different times tonight. That one picks up 7 in the first on 4th down.
The movement, and they got the defense, but watch, he just outruns the linebacker. Gronkowski goes up. Really simple. Oh, you got it covered. Just wait. He'll uncover on the other side of the formation. Good job by Tom Brady waiting, and that's really been the story of the game. Look at these throws. One incompletion. Couple touchdowns.
The incompletion, of course, was a drop by Gronkowski right in his hands. 1st and 10. And it's Blunt. Just getting stronger, it seems, as he's overpowered this defense all game long. Another 7, giving him 143 on the night.
Well, this is about as complete a game that we've done for the Patriots in a while. Defense so physical, covering the receivers. On the offense, they're doing whatever they want. Running the football, protecting Tom Brady. And the game plan has been magnificent. Josh McDaniels is getting guys open for Tom Brady every single play.
2nd and 3. Met at the line, falls forward for 1, and let's go to Tracy.
Well, thanks, Jim. Andy Studebaker is being taken to the locker room now. It is a chest injury. It looked as though he was coughing up some blood. A lot of concern on the athletic trainers' faces from the Indianapolis Colts sideline. So he is headed into the locker room. His return is questionable, but it doesn't look good right now. Jim?
Yeah, he never saw Bolden coming. Got blindsided. Clean play by Bolden. Studebaker heading in. 3rd and 1. See if they can get a hand on Blunt. Nope. Got the 1st down near the 15.
Yeah, not much they can do, Jim. Really, the Colts, we talked, they're thin up front. They're tired. And when an offense starts running the football like this, it just empowers the offensive linemen. I mean, they love it. You wait for these opportunities. You know, you get a couple chances a year where you start running the football and you dominate, and you can feel the defense is kind of giving up.
Quick pass, Lapel. Stiff arm down the sideline. And he's going to be out of bounds, I believe. Yeah, they're marking him back near the 7.
I'm pretty sure he stepped out. That was a run play, of course, and Tom Brady took advantage of the one-on-one situation outside. Gotta do that for Brandon LaFell, like you give him some action. That was his 4th catch today.
Proving to be a big free agent signee for them the way he emerged after the first third of the season. Former Carolina Panthers, 2nd and 2. Blunt. For once they got him. Chapman along with Landry.
Well, you see how many plays and different style of plays, the formations. Greg Minuski, the defensive coordinator for the Colts, he even said it. Nobody they play comes close to giving so many different looks with different people on the field than the Patriots. And he goes, if you stop them, they just keep coming with different thoughts and people out there until they find something that starts to work. Well, they found something today, and they are wearing it out.
3rd and 4. Brady to Edelman down to the 2 and a 1st. And another conversion for Julian.
Well, a big key is always when somebody goes in motion, he might be the #1 guy to look at. That's what it looks like so far here today, because when he goes in motion, they're trying to create an opportunity by making the guy that's covering fight his way through all the people.
And he limps to the sideline.
Well, he is. They ask a lot of him, Jim. They really do.
How about 5 third down conversions and 1 fourth down conversion tonight? So they come back with Fleming being eligible, Cannon on the line, 1st and goal to go. Blunt looking for his 3rd, and he dives under for the touchdown again.
Well, that just could continued everything we've seen here in the second half, and a little celebration by this offense. Now with the score the way it is, it's time to start thinking about going to the Super Bowl and substituting probably some of your stars out of the game.
Blunt's numbers are going to look very similar to 53 weeks ago. Now at 148 yards and 3 touchdowns. 45-7 with 10 minutes to go. Brady's on his way to the Super Bowl for the 6th time, which will be a record for a starting quarterback. Years I've been alive, Super Bowls played 6. Brady will be heading to Phoenix, trying to join Bradshaw and his boyhood idol Montana with 4 Super Bowl titles. The second half, absolute domination.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by McDonald's, Dr. Pepper, always be one of a kind, and by State Farm. Pump up your savings with a discount double check today.
Sheets of rain in Foxborough. Been that way the entire second half. As Heron has a good gallop, Chung has him from behind after 17. Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski saying, hey Gronk, I'm glad you're healthy this year. We missed you the last 2 years in the AFC Championship games when you weren't able to play.
It changes things when he's out there because you have to always know where he's at. You got to change what you do most weeks against teams that use their tight end outside.
How about Wendell? You saw Tom talking to his starting center today who had to move over from right guard and started center for Stork, who's out with a knee. They certainly had a lot of room to work with up the middle with Blunt, didn't they?
Yeah, it just shows you the depth and how they get ready for certain situations.
Luck picks up 11 on the scramble. Among tight ends this year.
Yeah, how about
the top as far as yardage? He tied Gates and Julius Thomas in the touchdown department with 12.
That's the big one. Big plays down the field. When he catches it, it's usually a first down.
You know, a year ago when they lost out at Denver, he was just a couple of days after having the knee surgery from Dr. Andrews. He told us the other afternoon he was in Pensacola, Florida, still recovering from the surgery, watching on television from his hotel room. He'd been released from the hospital, but they wanted him to stay in the area. They had to watch the Patriots fall to the Broncos that day without him, 26-16.
And don't forget, early in the year, he wasn't, it took him a while. I don't know what week, I'm going to say 5 or 6 until he started really being integrated into the offense and getting back to where we see him right now.
And again, everybody making all these fast conclusions about the Patriots after 4 games when, again, Gronkowski was not a factor at the start of the year. The Patriots started out 2-2. It's Luck. And Allen got a little turned around after making the catch on the previous play. Let's take a look at our nationwide Skycam. And the Colts will go into this offseason. They'll be matched up, by the way, because first place finishers, they'll be playing next year in the regular season. It's a young team that's made one more step each year for Luck, from a wild card appearance to the divisional round last year to the AFC Championship this year, but they've got to figure out how to compete with New England. Second and 10, and it's Tipton and Collins with the tackle.
Well, something here. It's Bill Cowher told me this a couple years ago, and I always think about it. There's a huge difference in getting to the conference championship game and winning the Super Bowl. And you see it here today. It's a lot of steps you've got to take. There's, of course, the Colts. It's been a tremendous year to get to this point, but they found out what it's like to play in a championship atmosphere against a team that is so used to these competitive situations, and they're good too, of course. So a lot of work to be done by this Colts team during the offseason to reach and to get to where the New England Patriots are.
3rd and 5, and Luck is intercepted again. It's Collins who tries to hurdle over Luck. Jamie Collins with the interception, the 2nd pick today by the Patriots. Stepping right in front of Tipton. Half a quarter before the celebration will break out and the Lamar Hunt Trophy will be presented to the Patriots. Colts might recognize this guy, Jonas Gray, getting his first handle. There's Robert Kraft, and in the Kraft era, since he bought the franchise in 1994, this is the 20th home playoff game after only one home playoff game in all the years prior to his ownership. A game against the Houston Oilers of Bum Phillips back in 1978. Jonas Gray.
Think about the 3 coaches that Robert Kraft has had since he's owned the team here, Jim.
Well, I know one thing. His last 2 are going to meet down in Phoenix.
That's right. And the one before that was Bill Parcells.
Yeah. So it went Parcells to Pete Carroll to this man right here, who will be going for his 4th title, attempting to win it for a 4th time and tying Chuck Noll.
Well, you know, I thought maybe they would start taking out some of these stars to give them a Tom Brady, let the backup quarterback come in, Jimmy Garoppolo, and let Tom Brady take a bow, but that's not how they do it.
3rd and 9, and they throw it to LaFell, and it's incomplete. Brady did get hit after he threw it, hit the ground.
That's why you take them out, or you don't throw the football. Just don't take any unnecessary chances now with the score the way it is.
Ooh,
wow, that's right.
Anything down in the knee area. Yeah, Corey Redding down low.
Well, that should make that decision a lot easier now.
T.Y. Hilton is the returner in place of Cribbs, and a flag is thrown in. Before the snap, another 5.
False start, number 55, offense, 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
Well, we did last year's championship game. You remember, Jim, out in Denver, and you look at this team here, it does not resemble the team we saw out there on either side of the ball. They're more aggressive on the offense. The skilled people are better with Brandon LaFell out there, and the defense, the changes they've made.
And again, no Gronkowski there.
Yeah, no Gronkowski. That's right.
And defensively, it's definitely an upgrade.
No question. Darrelle Revis, Brandon Brown.
Hilton waves the arm, secures it at the 9. Mercifully, only 5:45 left.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Subway Restaurants. Try new grilled chicken strips at Subway. Subway, eat fresh. And by Verizon XLTE on America's largest, most reliable 4G LTE network.
Coming up, the Subway post-game show with JB and the crew, and the presentation of the Lamar Hunt Trophy. And a look ahead to Super Bowl 49, all coming up on the Subway post-game show. Colts run it here. And it's Heron for 2.
Well, maybe that last play we saw against Tom Brady changed things, because we have backups in there now on the defensive side. Joe Villano on the defensive line, different defensive backs.
Brady
well,
gets an appearance up here on the
big screen,
and this place
Oh, yeah.
went wild when they showed him during the break.
Yeah, he went wild with them.
And it's Herron again. Collins still hungry. A lot of tackles plus a pick. This is what we talked about. Brady's had a couple of cracks now at trying to get to 4, but the nemesis being the New York Giants that beaten the Patriots the last 2 times they've gone to the big game. After they won the first 3 times, Brady and the Patriots went to the Super Bowl. This is what's bizarre, though. Put it in perspective. His 20th postseason win. That's more than 21 current NFL franchises have in their history.
Hey, look, this run has been incredible by the Patriots and Bill Belichick.
Screen to Herron. He's brought down by Tavon Wilson.
Colts can't get out of here. Yeah, they just want to pick up a first down and get this clock and get this game over with.
Hey, a lot of folks thought that this would be Denver, the 2 seed, coming in and playing the Patriots, but last week the Colts were the better team out of Denver, and Jason Watkinfora from CBS is reporting that Gary Kubiak is the next coach of the Broncos. What do you make out of that? Where's all those ties with Kubiak and Elway?
That's it. John Elway knows him well. They played together so many years. Gary Kubiak has experience coaching. It's a good hire for John Elway.
Brady's coming back out. Let's go down to the sideline. Tracy.
Jim, Tom Brady has stepped up his social media presence this season, posting pictures on his Facebook page throughout the year, but this week it was a little different. An image of him riding a blue Colt, and when I brought it up to him this week, he just laughed. He said, you had to have fun with it. This is a special week and why you played the game, and as in the picture, they have certainly tamed these Colts tonight, Jim.
Wonder what he'll post after this one.
I don't know. But I thought maybe that would rile some people up down in Indianapolis with him riding the Colt, but doesn't really matter. Of course it doesn't. Patriots in every phase, just a better team here today.
It's great for a yard, and we can start looking ahead. You can be the first guy to tell us about New England and Seattle.
Well, I'll tell you, there's something to look back at 2 years ago when they played out in Seattle. What was the score?
Hold on, here comes Garoppolo for Brady.
That's awesome. Last appearance here during the year. See Tom Brady hugging Bill Belichick after all these years. I said, has Bill Belichick softened up, Tom? He goes, no. He's more rigid now than ever before. So time is not softening Bill Belichick. They just keep marching on.
2nd and 8, Garoppolo, the rookie quarterback out of Eastern Illinois. The handoff to Amendola, and back to the game you were talking about. The last time the Patriots and Seahawks played was out in Seattle in 2012, and the Seahawks won 24-23. Brady got hit hard on the first play of this game, but ended up throwing for almost 400 yards, 395 yards.
Well, they lost late to Seattle, but what I remember about the game is what we saw here today. Tom Brady threw, I'm going to say, close to 40 passes that were the short variety where they were throwing in the flat, hooks and all those things. And the one thing Seattle has done this year, people have had a little success when they throw the ball short and keep the situations good for their offense.
3rd and 10. I'll tell you what I remember about that game. That was really, for some people, the first time Richard Sherman became kind of a household name, as he kind of got in Brady's face walking off the field at the end of the game.
He wasn't a flash in the pan. That's what we found out.
That's for sure. Subway postgame show is coming up, and I'm ready to get out in the ring. Why don't you come down there with me for the trophy presentation?
I'll watch you from up here.
Okay.
I know you'll do a good job. Unless you want me to come down there and hold the umbrella for you.
There you go. Love to have you. Number 1 seeds from this conference to win the Super Bowl. And a lot of that was happening back in the 70s, then the LA Raiders in 83, all the way to 98 Broncos, and then another gap till the 03 Patriots. That's the last team. There was a 1 seed from this conference to win it all, which they will attempt to do when they'll take on the champs from a year ago, who had an unbelievable rally against the Packers earlier today and then won it in overtime. Might be the last time that Reggie Wayne will ever don the Colt uniform. He's worn it more than any player in the 61-year history of the franchise, and he one day will be representing the Colts, you got to think, in Canton, Ohio.
Hall of Fame. Chuck Pagano got the job. The first person he called was Reggie Wayne. Needed his help, not to rebuild the team, but just to reload. He said, no, we're going to get this thing going right away. He was right. 3 straight years in the playoffs.
Tipton hit right away by Branch. So the Patriots will be taking on the champs from a year ago, looking for the repeat, the last franchise to repeat, the Super Bowl champions, New England, 2003 and 2004.
Well, we were getting ready to come on the air today. We were keeping our eye on the Seattle game, which was truly, like you said, an incredible finish.
Belichick, who actually came into the NFL with the Baltimore Colts back in 1975, working for Ted Marchibroda. He's a 23-year-old. He was known as Bed Check Billy back then. That's what he used to do at training camp, make sure everybody's in on time. And he's going to be going after a 4th Lombardi trophy. He actually was in the company of Lombardi when he was 17 years old, when Lombardi took over as coach of the Redskins. His father and uncle took him to see Lombardi make a speech at the DC Touchdown Club. Who could have known that day that there was a young kid in the audience who would have his name linked?
Well, he's worked his way in through the ranks. He's been great at everything he's done in coaching the NFL, special teams, defensive coordinator, and he's proven it here in New England. He might be the greatest head coach of all time. You know, he just never gets tired of the process, Jim. He enjoys everything about it. So many years and so much success, it hasn't worn him down.
Tom Brady today, 23 of 35, 226 yards and 3 touchdowns. And a battle of #1 seeds in Glendale, Arizona, New England and Seattle. NBC will have the broadcast, and we send along all of our best wishes to that great team down there. And we know they'll be providing outstanding coverage. Fred and Drew, Chris, and of course, you can't make this up, the best-selling author Al Michaels will be there to call it. Tom Brady, we've been talking all this postseason history and the records he's amassed. His first ever playoff game was 13 years ago tomorrow. That was the snow game. Some call it the tuck game against the Raiders. That was his first appearance. That was in the snow. Tonight it was in the rain. And in 2 weeks, it'll be late in the afternoon, but they'll be starting out in sunshine, taking on Seattle in Super Bowl 49. The New England Patriots leave little doubt tonight. They are the AFC champions.